We got a new box of steering linkage. It's for this. I bought this Cummins at the auction, and it was on a ride and drive, which means you can take it and drive it. And I thought, well, it's probably okay. I wasn't there. And it looked pretty sanitary because the tires all matched. I could tell that from the pictures, and they actually had decent tread. It doesn't have fender flares or anything hiding anything. And it didn't have a giant exhaust. So I kind of took my chances, and I thought, I'm going to risk it on this because it looked pretty well stock, and it is a Cummins, so I took a chance on it and got it bought. And Buddy and I drove down to Topeka to get it, and we got there, and we were just getting in the thing, and one of the guys that works at the auction says, "Hey, you're not driving that home, are you?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "The tie rod fell off of it." So we crawled under and looked, and sure enough, it had been wired back up. So we thought maybe driving home 100 miles wasn't the best plan, so that was a wasted trip. Came back home, got the trailer, of course, hauled it in, and I just got it on the lift now. I didn't want to buy new parts for it until I drove it and knew what I had, but it's kind of hard to risk driving this very far. So I drove it down the ditch, back up, backed it in here, and it didn't fall off in that time. It seemed like it shifted okay. It's pretty greasy under here, but it looks like maybe actually it might be the steering box. So it probably needs a steering box. It probably needs a track bar, probably needs about everything, but I kind of have to get this on to find out what we've got here. This still has the stock Dodge steering on it, which is a terrible design because, as you can see, it's kind of a three-piece, well, it's a two-piece, but 3 links to set this up. So every time the suspension moves, it changes your toe a little bit, which is not the greatest setup in the world. In 2009, they went to a single tie rod, which is what this is. So it's a single rigid tie rod. Much better because when it's lined up, it doesn't change at all. So we're going to convert it over, pull all this off, then drop it down. Well, we'll probably check the ball joints out and steering box and that kind of stuff. But at least then when we get that in, we can drop it down and drive it and see what's up with it, see if it's okay. And let's see. Oh yeah, that's stuck. The air wasn't working in it, and I see why. They've even put a new, I don't know if that tensioner's, I don't remember if that's where the tensioner is on a stock one or not, but they've sure bypassed the AC compressor. So if everything else works out, looks like we're going to need to put a new AC system on it. Of course, at the rate I'm going, it'll probably be fall by the time it's ready, and I can wait. But yeah, rest of this, it's pretty rusty. There's nothing special about it, but I do kind of need another 3/4 ton around so I can pull the trailer when I've got heavier loads. Looks like the exhaust hangers broke through. It does have a straight pipe in it, though. They have done that. And there's a leak there where it's not well, it's either rusted through or they didn't get a good weld. Probably didn't get a good weld. Usually these pipes don't rust from the inside because diesel just doesn't rust that often. And we need to fix that spare tire hanger so that we can put a spare in if it runs out and we go to using it. But it doesn't look terrible. compared to the rust I see in most of these around this part of the country. Oh, that's ripped out. We may have to take this step off because there is not much holding it. That's slightly sketchy. Transmission doesn't look terrible. Oh, hold on. There's a sticker on there. That is a Jasper rebuilt transmission. I don't know how old. I'll have to look for some paperwork in the truck. The starter doesn't look too old either. It looks pretty clean comparatively. So it's sort of been kept up. You see it does have fresh links on the sway bar. So they were keeping it up a little bit, although that is concerning. But I guess we'll wheel the van over here with the tools in it. We'll start busting this thing apart and see if we can get the new steering linkage on. Oh, it does. They've revised the... Okay. They've revised these arms so it's not quite as severe a bend for that link. It's supposed to help them out a little. But I'm not going to put that on yet because I suspicion if everything else works out, I'm probably going to need to put a reman steering box on it. That's kind of a common wear item. And this thing's got, I don't remember how many miles, a lot. I don't know if I can see it up there. I can't see it, but over 250, I think. So it probably needs it. Probably needs a steering shaft and some other things. But anyway, we'll start tearing this apart and see what we end up with. Huh. Look at him. Well, that didn't help. Damn it. This might be easier to understand now that they're out. You can see that the new one is a single tie rod. It cannot move. Once it's aligned, there can't be any movement. Yeah. The drag link comes off the steering box straight over to the passenger side wheel, and then the driver's side ties in off of it. So when it cycles up and down, the steering box does not move. The steering box is affixed to the frame. So this section cycles when that axle moves up and down, which affects everything. it doesn't stay rigid. It's not a very good design, and I don't know why they ever did that. Because all their straight axle trucks up to 93 had just a rigid tie rod that connected both wheels. So why they started using that design, I have no idea. But it's not, I mean, it works, but it's not as good as this. Which I'm sure is why in '09 they went back to this design. Anyway, we'll get her back on. This was kind of a miracle. I wasn't sure if I was going to get this one out very easy. I was afraid where it popped off there, it didn't have any weight hanging down on it. Sometimes this can be a real bear to get out, but it came off. Everything actually came out pretty good, considering it doesn't look like it had been apart for a long time. That side's actually pretty decent. All right, let's get to it. Well, we're on the ground. We'll give this thing a drive if I can squeeze in through here. There, 268,000 miles. Well, I thought I had that steering wheel straight, but I apparently did not. We'll have to figure that out when we go to align it. Pressure's good. Locks into gear. That's really annoying with that steering wheel. Hopefully it's not too far off. I'm gonna break the clock spring in it. Probably will. Brakes feel all right. Well, that felt good enough. I guess maybe we can go ahead and order some more parts for it, especially like a air conditioning compressor, because a little warm.